The Crypto Street Podcast is hosted by Crypto Dale, Prince, and Killer Whale, who can be found on Twitter at CryptoDale, at Killer Whale, K1LLERWH4LE, and at 13Prince31. None of this should be construed as investment advice. For information on how to join our private Telegram group, The Pod, please email tcsp@protonmail.com. The Crypto Street Podcasts are officially sponsored by 21 Cryptos, the world's first and only cryptocurrency trading magazine. Visit 21cryptos.com and enjoy 50-plus pages of pro tips and predictions, an analysis of the best 21 coins to invest in for the month, trading lessons and articles from your favorite pros, price action event calendars, entertainment, and lots more. Stay ahead of the game and get your copy today. Visit 21cryptos.com.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for listening to episode 2 of Crypto Street Podcast. We want to thank everyone so much for listening to episode 1. We really appreciate it. We want to thank you for joining back for episode 2. We've got a fantastic guest for everyone today. Everyone will know who he is. Wolf, welcome. Thank you for joining. We'll get into his interview here shortly. As always, I'm joined with my co-host, Killer Whale.
What's up?
Prince.
How we doing, guys?
All right, so
good to see you guys again.
Yeah, welcome
How's
back,
everybody
doing? So Wolf, thank you very much for being with us today. Kind of short notice, so we're very appreciative for you joining on. I know you're a hot name in the community, so we just want to kind of ask you some questions so everyone listening can kind of get to know you a little better. So how exactly did you come into crypto?
Well, first, I guess, thanks for having me, guys. First podcast I've ever been in, so it's pretty cool. I first started crypto, I think, where most OGs started, which is basically, Silk Road. So, yeah.
That's good. So what, I know, you know, you're kind of viewed as one of the experts in the community in this space, so what have you done to help get yourself to where you are today as, you know, being able to have excellent trend analysis or fundamental analysis to recognize calls? And I know you've got a group that you kind of lead, so just give everyone some information and detail on how you got to being the expert that you are.
Honestly, I just Google the shit out of everything. I mean, I started off, I guess, crypto with the community back in like the Telegram groups and ETH Trader and all this other stuff. And then it just kind of grew from there, where people said, like, you know, I need to start a Twitter because that's where all the news comes from, and blah 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 blah. And I honestly didn't start a Twitter until like after I was already a little bit successful. But you know, back then everyone was making a shit ton of money, so who couldn't be successful? But I guess the fast-paced trading that I was doing kind of helped speed me up in terms of gaining experience, and I just started posting on my charts and my calls in Twitter, and that ended up gaining me a lot of popularity, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of a combination, which I think we all have benefited from, of right place, right time, you know, in large part. And then you've obviously done a fantastic job of capitalizing on it, given the opportunity. So it's been kind of impressive to see all the different accounts pop up, you know, and the success of the different Telegram groups.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you feel is the most intriguing thing for, say, yourself as a quote unquote whale or a new person coming in? What's the most intriguing thing about crypto?
It's funny, I'm not actually as much of a whale as people think that I am.
I think that's probably true of a lot of crypto Twitter, by the way.
Oh, for sure. I think one of the biggest whales that I've met is fucking always lurking in the shadows and shit. But most of these whales like to dump on other folks. It's pretty funny. I'm just over here bullshitting, and popularity just came, so I just kind of rolled with it. But I mean, nowadays, who isn't a whale when you have fucking BitMEX, you know?
50
Gotta
times
love that
leverage, 100
leverage.
times. Yeah. You got to be working with a tiny amount of capital if that's not putting you into a large amount of money going to work on a trade.
Bro, 100x all the time, you know what I'm saying?
100x or GTFO.
Yeah, exactly. But, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Most intriguing thing about crypto right now. What do you think? Like the most intriguing
the
thing
most intriguing.
about crypto in your mind, yeah.
I think the most intriguing thing is fucking hot kachina. I mean, that's just...
I'm happy you say it the same way I did too, because the more I think about it, the more I think it was hot cat China.
Yeah.
And, but in my mind, it was always hot kachina. So
That's how I said it too.
Dude, it's pretty funny. I mean, not to put her on blast, even though her getting hacked put me on blast, but whatever. But I met her in person at blockchain, whatever the fuck, convention, blockcap or something, whatever the hell it was called. And she actually was talking as if like she knew her shit. So I was like, oh, you know, she's fucking real. Cause me and Venture Coinist, Luke Martin were like having bets on whether or not it's like some fat ass fucking, you know, some dude with a beard or like a beer belly, like sitting in the corner. And then we met her and we're like, holy shit. But then I started talking to her hacker. I mean, I had like a full blown conversation with her hacker for like probably like an hour and a half while I was fucking wasted
I
hosting
saw some of those screenshots. It was crazy.
Oh no, dude, it was way more than what I screenshot. I just didn't want to put it on blast. But yeah, but she but he's saying that like, you know, she doesn't own any crypto, and I'm just like, wait a second, how does she not own any crypto? But she can talk about blockchain, like, I don't know.
I wonder what was up with that too, because if you're at all involved in the space, why would you not have something in crypto given how good the returns are? That didn't add up at all to me.
Even if it's not a lot of what's perceived, even just something.
I think from like what my understanding is she had a lot of stuff. She had a second phone or something like that, and a lot of her details for some of those accounts were on this other phone that was luckily not breached. But I could be wrong, but that was my understanding on it all.
Well, she had her Google Drive breached, so I mean, like, you know, if you got that breached, from what I know at least, from what the hacker told me, but if you got that breached and you don't, and you don't have the security to protect the one account, but you're going through all these measures to protect your crypto account, like, what? Doesn't make sense. Anyways, that's definitely what I find. Probably not as what most people find more intriguing. They'll probably say some boring ass shit in further podcasts, but, but that's my most intriguing thing in crypto right now.
Run us through a typical day. I know you've got that paid group you run, and you know you're always, it seems, in, you know, actively trading and got some long-term hold. Give us a typical day in your life right now.
My life is pretty boring. I go to sleep with my laptop on my side, and I wake up and I immediately look at my laptop, and I probably work for like 3 hours before I even get breakfast. And then I continue to work.
Gotta have the work ethic.
Yeah, and then I continue to work basically all damn day. I mean, today is fucking Sunday. I woke up at, what time is it right now? I woke up at like 7 a.m. this morning to start working. And it's like, it's like 4 p.m. I just haven't stopped.
Did you or do you work a job, I'm curious, that required you to be up early? Do you think that's part of it? If so?
No, I mean, the job that required me to be up earliest before was probably the Marine Corps, but I fucking hate that shit, so.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not in there anymore. But, no, I think it's just, you know, if anyone has a shit ton of money, you know, in the markets at a given point, and they have open positions and stuff, I think it just makes everyone pretty restless, and that's sort of my thing. I get like panic attacks at night sometimes. Markets. Yeah, especially these markets.
So, I mean, I know you, how often are you active in your group, or, you know, are you always just working for calls in your group, or, I mean, you know, what's the breakdown there? Say on time spent in your group.
I don't, all day. I'm in my group all day.
Okay.
That's like my friends and family, basically. Like, I mean, I have a little audio chat, Traderholics, I call it. Where it's just like me and like mostly like the core group of people who just sit there and bullshit, and like those are the people that are on all day trading, fucking, well, they're traderholics, you know, fucking addicts to this shit. But we just sit there, we just bullshit. We have a little, you know, audio bot, play music, and whenever it's pumping, we'll play pump music, like fucking Pump the Jam and like all this shit. And then, and yeah, we just kind of like, it's just some camaraderie in there. What? Shut up. Anyways, you didn't hear that. Yeah, I mean, I spend all day in my group. Sometimes I wish I wouldn't, especially when there's the one Lambo people, because they just, most of the people want entry points, exit points. Sir, it's going down a little bit. What do I do?
Yeah, they want the guaranteed that they don't seem to understand is nothing is guaranteed in these markets, but yet so many have this confusion.
Exactly. It's like, sir, I, you know, paid money to be in this group and I don't have a Lambo yet, sir. Sir, when Lambo?
Yeah, you know what it is? It's like people have this desire for certainty, and especially in investing, it's not a game of certainties. It's a game of probabilities. You know, you can say, this is probably going to happen in all likelihood. But it's not the sort of thing where you can say, this is absolutely going to happen. I don't think in almost any scenario. I mean, there are certain things that are surefire home runs in my opinion. Like I think Ethereum under $10 was the biggest sure thing I've ever seen in investing, whether it be equities, bonds, you know, traditional capital markets or crypto. But they have this need for certainty, and it's not there, and it takes a while to kind of accept that, I think.
You know, and what surprises me the most about paid groups, and I'm not stabbing at them or anything because I think they are beneficial, but, you know, for me, looking to enter into a paid group, I'm not necessarily looking for the calls and entries and exits. I'm more looking for, you know, okay, how does, say, Wolf get to where he's at today? What's his, you know, thought process? What's his educational reach? That's kind of, I want to learn from him so I can someday be on my own. I'm not in it looking, you know, relying on all his calls just to make money, or the paid group calls. So I mean, I like the groups, but I would utilize them differently than those people that say, you know, win Lambo, you know, and expect to come in and get it right away.
I think it's a bit, you know, you can't really always like kind of blame it on the people either though, because we gotta remember the market we're in, right? This market is, you know, there was a time back in when March, May, April kind of thing where you could be picking a coin blindfolded almost and it would go up. And a lot of these people are sitting on the sidelines watching this happen, watching all these other people who were probably getting laughed at earlier for being in crypto, getting these insane returns, right? So now you got all of them coming in thinking, okay, well, this has got to be my road to easy money, right? And so I think a lot of people get that reality check. It's a tough one to get, but just because the returns can be insane, it's not a given.
Yeah, for sure. Wolf, where do you see this crypto going? As far as, you know, I know everyone is saying Bitcoin 10,000 by the end of the year. You know, what's your take on, you know, where the market's going and what you foresee in the future?
I definitely think Bitcoin's gonna hit 10K before the end of the year. And it's partly like what you said, it's kind of like a magnet, you know, like everybody wants it, everyone's been thinking about it, everyone's like saying like, oh, you know, 10K, I think it might actually even break 10K, but now whether or not it holds that, is completely up in the air, but I definitely think that we'll be seeing 10K before the end of the year. And then like with traditional markets, everything kind of crashes down after that because people do their whole like little tax thing, and like the holidays, everyone always exits the market because it's too volatile, et cetera, et cetera. I think we're going to see the same thing with crypto. Last year, we didn't have as much people as we do now, so we can't really compare last year to now. But I think because we have so much people now, especially with Wall Street moving in and everything, that it is going to have some sort of like a little shorting effect. And then everyone's like kind of pumped up about CME coming into the space on, in the second week of December. I'm a bit worried that if they think that everyone's going to be kind of exiting or, you know, taking profits towards the end of the year, that they may just short the shit out of it. Then if maybe that'll trigger some sort of like real serious correction, because if so, then we could probably see like, you know, that crazy 30, 40, well, 30 is pretty regular, but that crazy 40, 50% retrace.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think that's something that people don't consider, you know, is a lot's going to change when the big money comes into these markets.
Oh, yeah.
These are not like equity markets, or they have not been traditionally, where it's super competitive. You're dealing with a ton of capital, a ton of super smart people in the space. It wasn't like that. I mean, I even look back to when I kind of got involved in summer of 16, trading on Polo, and it was a cakewalk compared to equities. You know, trading stocks is hard. This was not hard for quite some time. I mean, it's still pretty easy relative to equities, but it's quite a bit harder than it was even a year ago. And that's only going to accelerate as the really big capital comes in, the hedge funds, you know, the big dogs in traditional markets, those kind of people. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see.
It's funny because you can, like, I know even for myself, I'm not that great of an equities trader, and I have traded them quite a bit in the past, but you know, my issue is because you get the breakouts in equities, a lot of times these breakouts, they're a lot more controlled, right? So they're slower. You got to be patient with them. Crypto, you don't really need that patience all the time, right? You can get moves that happen so fast. So it's going to be interesting how that evolves too, right?
I just want to say there, man, Prince, you sounded really Canadian in everything you said right there, but we won't hold that against you. I mean, Wolf, do you have anything else to add there?
Well, I was just gonna say, you guys hearing him all chopped up too? Is that the Iowa connection?
That's the Iowa connection.
That's that Iowa. That farm connection.
The only
his internet cable is actually corn husks.
Is the little hamster.
Hey, don't
in the
make fun. We
background.
just got dial-up phones last week.
Oh my god! Is that you, Dave?
So, Wolf, if you had someone coming up to you right now, say a family member, aside from not say you wouldn't let them in your group, just say, and they wanted to get into crypto, what are you gonna tell them to do, and what direction would you point them in?
Give him my BitMEX my referral thing and tell him to go 100.
And your one broker too, right?
Yeah, my one broker.
Passive income, earn BTC.
That's the best answer.
I gotta step up my referral game. I don't do any of that shit.
I don't either.
People are making a lot of money with that crap. I really gotta start spamming that shit.
There's guys.
So if you guys see me
Twitter
doing that,
accounts
don't
out
judge
there
me. I'm just
making straight up livings
Oh, that's
off of
ridiculous.
referral fees.
I
They
did-
don't even need to trade.
I did
yeah.
tweeted one thing really quick, like just for shits and giggles, because I basically, like, if you saw my little referral tweet for BitMEX, I copied the exact saying from this group that copies my calls and resells them. So I copied their shit and oh, look at that. So I copied their shit and I tweeted it and I posted it in my group. And in my group, I pulled up the middle finger and I said, you know, this is for, you know, XYZ group. It was just like all fun shits and giggles, but I'm looking at my affiliates thing right now and 10 people actually signed up from my little joke.
Jeez.
Which is not
Fucking
that much though. I mean, total turnover is like, 15
All it takes is
Bitcoin.
one guy who's trading heavy though, right? And
Yeah,
that's coming in.
That's what I'm hoping for, right? I guess. But I might have to retweet that thing, see if we can bump that up to 20.
There we go.
But going back to what you said prior, the previous question, one thing that I'm actually looking towards a little bit of a insider scoop for you gentlemen, is I do know, I mean, I'm sure you guys know I'm decently connected within the community, even though nobody knows who the fuck I am. But I do know of a hedge fund that is getting ready for altcoin, spring part 2. So,
that's awesome.
That's great news.
yeah, so that kind of, I mean, I'm personally not in, actually, let me look at my altcoin portfolio right now. My altcoin portfolio is shit. Like, I barely have any money in it to begin with.
Yeah, mine's
so-
pretty low.
So mainly Bitcoin, is that what you
Oh
trade?
yeah, for sure. Right now, especially, it's like
Yeah.
altcoin fucking winter right now. But but for altcoins, I'm seriously just holding Ether because I think Ether's gonna break all-time high pretty soon.
I'm with you on that
Yeah,
position.
me too.
Yep. Ripple,
I agree with that, 100%.
because I got shafted in the ass with their whole little American Express
Oh,
thing.
that conference.
Was that Palm Beach report or?
Ripple is my favorite redheaded stepchild of crypto. It's made me so much, well, it's done well for me. And everyone hates it, so I like gloating over it.
Ripple made me a lot of money back,
Yep.
you know, when they had their crazy FOMO rally, but ever since then, it's just been losing all that money that it made.
Bleeding slowly. Like a dying animal on the savannah. That's Ripple the past fucking 4 months. Like a wildebeest who just got gored. It's just bleeding out. That's kind of been the markets, actually. Just kind of boring and bleeding slowly over the past, 5 months. I think most of the alt markets, at least. I mean, Bitcoin's been
alts
killing
have
it,
sucked.
obviously, but...
Yeah, honestly, alts have just been a portfolio killer for the last few months here. There's never, to me, I've been really light on alts. So it's, until you get the given signals that just look really nice, there's no point in trying to catch bottoms or anything.
Yeah, like in my, and also Bittrex sucks now, but Poloniex was good and then it started lagging, moved to
What's going on with
Bittrex.
Bittrex? I've been seeing so much on Twitter, and I haven't actually logged in a couple days, so I don't really know what the dealio is, but what's going on?
It just sucks. Like whenever you open up a coin, it takes, oh, well, right now it was pretty quick, but usually it takes 10, 15 minutes just to load a damn page, and you're like, what the fuck, bro?
Okay.
It sounds like Kraken.
Yeah, it's pulling a Kraken.
Kraken is the biggest piece of shit, dude. I was desperate for a place to trade Bitcoin on margin when I first got started about a year ago. A little more than a year ago. But I ended up at Kraken eventually. And I was not working with that much money at that time. But the liquidity was still an absolute joke. I couldn't get anything to execute. I think I got liquidated on a margin position or something. Just because it was some bullshit lag or some I just remember being pissed like crazy at fucking Kraken. I haven't used it since.
Yeah, that was one of my first exchanges for margin trading, and that only lasted for about 3 weeks. I got out of there.
The Polo Glory years were pretty fun, though. The troll box in full swing. When moon, sir, pump. Remember Cure and that other one, FLDN, I think? There was some kind of medical research coin. It's like, hey, who wouldn't support this? It's for cancer research. It was such a scam. It was no morals at all. Just hey, pump it. I mean, I don't know. If it really raised money for cancer, awesome. But those were some funny times.
Hey, by the way, the next big thing that I'm thinking of after Bittrex is starting to suck. I'm moving over to Binance, which I think everyone is starting to do now.
Yeah.
I checked out their app, actually. It's pretty slick.
Oh, they have an app?
Yeah, iOS and Android, from my understanding.
That's pretty dope. I have not tried Binance yet.
I haven't either. I think I'm gonna sign up.
It's like the new hip thing. It's like once a shitcoin trading platform has too many members, they just stop giving a shit about upgrading their servers.
Oh yeah, Poloniex Exhibit A of that shit.
Yeah, the Poloniex was like, fuck that, we're gonna change our TOS. We can steal your money, doesn't matter. We can do whatever we want.
I had to get that in there.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, let's not even get started on that.
That's a whole can
We
of
could spend
worms.
a fucking half hour debating tethers and whether they're fraudulent and all that shit.
Yeah, that's a can of worms.
You guys want to do some bullish and bearish? What do you think?
Let's rock. Alright, so what we'll do, this is kind of something new we're going to try this episode. I'm going to name some coins or some tokens, and you guys just say whether you're bullish or bearish on it. Give a short little spiel. We don't need to be here all day for it. So, first one is Ethereum. I don't care which one of you goes first.
I'm bullish. I'm watching the weekly chart right now on the Ethereum US dollar. The weekly candle should be closing today, and hopefully we get the highest ever weekly close on Finex. If we can close above 350.63. So I'm watching that on Ethereum US dollar right now, actually.
Wolf, what do you think, man?
I'm bullish. I mean, on the weekly, you can see an ascending triangle, and then if you do BTC or ETH to BTC, you see a 3-point drive that's pretty fucking gnarly. I don't think it's gonna fill it out all the way, but at least it can do some sort of an attempt where it could hopefully get up to back to 0.12, 0.13 BTC or something.
Yeah, I'm bullish as well. I like Ethereum here. I think it's creeping up. I think it really consolidated in that 290 to 320 zone US dollars wise for quite some time. So that's going to lead to some pressure, as it has started today to really break up through that kind of zone. That consolidation period is really going to serve to bolster it and kind of send it higher, I think, because it was kind of compressed like a coiled spring for a long time. Mm-hmm. So now that we're finally starting to see that, that should be bullish. I mean, long time being 4 to 5 months, which is pretty short in equity markets, but in crypto, that's kind of a long time. So it's all relative, but very bullish.
Next, let's take a look at Monero. XMR. Monero, whatever.
Pull up the chart for that.
What are you thinking, Wolf? You having a strong opinion on Monero? Bullish, bearish?
I think, fuck Fluffy Pony.
I agree.
And that's my thought. But no, I don't trade Monero just because I bashed heads with Fluffy a little while ago for his little stunt that he pulled.
Oh, dude. I was so pissed at that. For anybody that doesn't know, Consensus back in May. So let me give some background first. Fluffy Pony is the lead developer of Monero. He's one of the most outspoken guys against scams in the crypto space. He's always kind of riding his high horse. I've had my share of run-ins with him on Twitter. Anyway, I like Monero as a coin. Back in May during Consensus, he teased this big kind of announcement for Monero. It was supposed to be a big video. People were thinking it was maybe some kind of corporate partnership. And it turns out it was a complete joke. So the price ran up in anticipation of this video being released, and coincidentally, oddly enough, dumped right before the video got released. Yeah. And so this is the guy who's the biggest outspoken critic against scams, essentially pulling a scam. And then when he's asked about it, he's like, oh, I was trying to teach everybody a lesson. Like, what? Like, what kind of lesson, bitch? I mean, you were connected with some people in at Consensus. So I like Monero. I'm bullish on Monero. Can I go bullish Monero, bearish Fluffy Pony?
I think you can do that.
We'll allow it.
You see, I'm just looking at the XMR Bitcoin chart, the weekly again here from BitREx, and I'm just looking at this volume spike it had a few weeks back in September. It's actually insane. I didn't even notice it. But I'm gonna have to keep XMR more on my watch list just because that volume spike is pretty aggressive.
With that being said, really quick, I'm also, it's funny that you bring that up because I'm also watching the exact same thing, the one weekly and all that. And I see the pretty gnarly volume spike. However, I also see the very quick fucking intense waterfall draw. Yeah, exactly. All the way back down to a double bottom. So with that being said, and then we have like another little volume spike as well by volume and some more drops below. Now, if this next little retrace drops below the double bottom, then we'll have a lower low, which would signify a bear market.
Get the hell out.
Yeah. So just running off TA alone, I would also say that it is, I wouldn't say it's bearish for sure yet because we still have the double bottom intact, but it's definitely a worse TA chart.
Yeah, it's not very it's not a clean TA chart actually. Well, just for me anyways, not my preference to trade. So,
all right. So one that's kind of been hot here lately. I know it's up probably $15 here in the last day or so. Is Neo.
China's Ethereum.
Oh yeah, I love Neo, man. I'm a big time supporter of Neo.
I'm just looking at the weekly Neo US dollar chart, and even that, it doesn't look terrible. It's US dollar value looks like it can still go up more. That being said, I'm not really a big Neo
my
fan.
experience with Neo was I was on vacation in Colombia when it started its run. And I see everybody on Twitter going, Neo this, Neo that, Chinese Ethereum. And I'm just like, I spent 90% of this trip shit-faced or on something. And so I'm sitting there like, oh, fuck this. I can't be bothered with this shit. Like, I don't think I can even log in a Polo from here. I can barely make a cell phone call. And so I'm salty at Neo. So I have no opinion. That's my opinion.
You know, I'm kind of the same way. I chased it early on in the game, and I was fortunate to get out of it with break even and whatnot, but it's just one of them that kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So I kind of try and stay away from that too. And the other day on Twitter, someone messaged me and asked when it was going to moon, and I kind of told us to get fucked.
No way, Dale. I think that played into Dale's Twitter hiatus.
That was before I got
enforced Twitter hiatus.
That was before I got jailed. We talked about it earlier. Killer, it's one of your babies. Ripple. Personally, I'll start this off. I am bearish as shit on this one. I'm kind of like everybody else. I don't really like it. I did also make some profits off of it pretty early. But the whole, that conference that they had was just absolutely horrible. One of the poorest conferences I've ever seen. You know, they were pumping it up that they were going to have an announcement, and people were just getting in and chasing it, and then they never really announced shit. And
I love about that though is like, who could they have had that would have reinforced their whole like in bed with the bankers thing more than fucking Bernanke? I mean, the guy's name almost sounds like bank.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's an absolute joke.
Yeah.
Ripple's just like, they know that's like everybody's biggest concern. They're in bed with the banks. It's a corporate coin. It's not decentralized. Fuck you. I think I'm bullish on Ripple. That conference was a joke, and Bernanke was hilarious, and he definitely dumped on us. But I'm bullish on Ripple from here. I think it's been consolidating in this kind of 20 cent, 30 cent zone for some time. So I think if it starts to break up, I'm going to like it. I don't think it's done that yet, but I think the downside's fairly limited from here.
Target, sir?
$1 million.
There you go.
One thing that I like, I don't like Ripple, particularly, but you can't not, watch it. You have to always be aware of what's going on. And one thing that I find, especially the newer individuals to crypto, they don't seem to realize it all the time, is that there's actually like a coin supply that goes on the market cap, all that. Well, they kind of get distracted just with Ripple's low price. So they're like, oh, I'm going to buy a ton of Ripple because it's so cheap. It's like, take a look at the supply, take a look at the market cap.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Wolf, what do you think? Did we lose Wolf?
Wolf, you there, man?
He's probably getting another drink. He's probably like, piss on Ripple, piss on you guys.
Alright, sorry guys, what I missed. I was getting another drink.
We literally were like, Wolf, you there? And Dale's like, he's probably getting another drink.
Oh, really?
That's good shit.
What, are you bullish, bearish on Ripple?
Alright, so I mean, just thinking from a TA's perspective. So Ripple's rally started off, and we had a 6,100% increase with the crazy FOMO rally that lasted about it was only like a month basically.
It was insane.
Yeah, it was nuts, dude. Fucking nuts. But with that being said, because it rallied up so much, it needs an extremely extended period of time to consolidate. And I think that that's exactly what we've been seeing. I think that people have been trying to force it to kind of recover way prior to. But with the fact that they're releasing always new coins into the market and there's just more supply out there, it kind of helps bring it back down. But with that being said, I think that we're getting so far low. Right now we've been in the red zone. If you do the Fibonacci retracement, we've been in the red zone for months now. And I think, and right now we're at a moving average of the very first little leg up of the crazy FOMO rally. We're at the moving average of that moving average of the retracement from that. So I think that we may just kind of go sideways a little bit here, maybe go a little bit further down to hit the very bottom of that moving average. And then it's going to go sideways. And by then it'll be January time frame. And, we'll see Ripple do another kind of big ass bull rally up to, to $1, as everyone kind of. Because as soon as
That's the target.
as soon as we start seeing that 70 cents, 60 cents, everyone's like, oh, Ripple $1, and this is gonna start that FOMO rally, and everyone's gonna be dreaming for the $1 Lambo.
It's like we talk about
bullshit.
10,000 being an important psychological magnet type level for Bitcoin, and I think $1 is the same sort of thing for Ripple. And that's the sort of thing that I think it's important not to discount, because psychology is gigantic in the markets. It drives a lot of it. So to discount
everything.
a sort of an arbitrary, and just say, oh, it's an arbitrary number. I mean, kind of, but it makes a difference. And I think the really big numbers are things like going from cents to dollars, going from single digit dollars to double digit dollars, going from double digit to triple digit. Those kind of big, like, visual psychological things. I think it's important not to discount that kind of stuff. I mean, I think rallies tend to extend a little bit past those big numbers. You look at Bitcoin passing 1,000, it goes up to 1,250 or so before it, dips back down and kind of recovers from that. So I think 10,000 might be kind of the same way. I know we're a little bit of a tangent from Ripple, but I think we could see like a 12,000, or in Ripple's case, maybe like $1.20, before it kind of crashes down, assuming it does that kind of run.
I think even to touch on your point there of these price levels and the psychological impact I guess some people have on them. I think such a good example is last January, I think it would have been, or maybe December, Bitcoin was kind of starting its run, and that was kind of around the same time there was some Chinese exchange drama going down, no more withdrawals, stuff like that. And I always remember, I think it was OKCoin, and the price topped out at 8,888 Chinese yuan, and like number 8 is just insanely, that's a big number for the Chinese, right? And it's like for it to hit that number on the dot and then collapse for a while. It was just so classic.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the last one for this is Tezos.
Dale, do you have some thoughts on this? What are you thinking about Tezos here?
I'm not discounting its potential by any means, because I think it could be huge. But personally, I'm going to stay away from it, I think, for a while, at least until, I'm a person that necessarily doesn't like drama. So I'm going to stay away from it until all the drama, so to say, with the pending lawsuits, all that stuff. I was not able to get in on the ICO offering, so I don't have any. Not to say I won't get any, but I'm just going to kind of stay away until the dust settles.
Yeah, I'm kind of
see where those lawsuits
I'm kind of a Tezos homer. I think it's actually a really good project. Here's my thoughts on it. I think they desperately need a PR person or some kind of community-facing person that can interact with, communicate with the community. That's one place I think they're lacking. These lawsuits, I am not concerned about. They've been hit with a couple of class actions. One looks complete bullshit, at least. And my thoughts about Tezos basically boil down to this. I'm bullish because I think they have enough money to A, get past this shit, and B, basically bribe their way into prominence. I mean, they can pay exchanges to be listed. They can pay developers to work on it. They have so much money. I don't see how they're not successful. They would have to completely botch this to not succeed with that much of a war chest. So I'm bullish on Tezos.
Yeah, I'm bullish on Tezos. I got a bag from the ICO, so I can't not be bullish. Right?
So it's that's funny. I'm bearish as fuck on Tezos. I think Tezos is cancer to the fucking crypto community. I actually have I have no idea what the fuck Tezos is, what their white paper is. I don't know what their mission is. I don't know anything about Tezos other than the fact that
this ties into my Tezos point real quick, man. I'll let you talk, but I think with the problems Ethereum has been having in terms of some of the problems with Solidity, the programming language, Tezos addressed a lot of this stuff in advance in terms of a more secure programming language in Michelson, formal verification kind of being, thought of from the beginning, being easy to implement, which can prevent a lot of these errors that you're seeing with Ethereum. I think if you tie that in with the built-in governance, which is kind of a negative in the Bitcoin community, or, I mean, who knows though, Bitcoin's fucking mooning, so maybe not. But it's a talking point at least. So I think they've done a good job of kind of seeing that stuff in advance and working that into their protocol from the beginning. So that's what I think about it, but I could be wrong. I'm biased.
So let me, yeah, definitely. No, so let me interject really quick. So what you just explained to me was Neo. Because Neo is 80% compatible with programming languages already out there, C++, Java, C#, etc., and they already have, the whole governance compatible bullshit that they're always claiming with, like, China fucking ICO coin, blah, blah, blah. So, like, you just kind of explained Neo to me, which is why I'm so bullish on Neo. But aside from that, they don't have the fucking Swedish House Mafia fucking, drama going with them. And
I saw somebody post on like Reddit or something. They're like, yeah, Tezos raised 500 million and gave it to some strangers in Switzerland, and now they don't control it. I just like, I know it's way more nuanced than that, but I just was ruffling at that. I thought that was so funny.
No, but in all honesty, that's it's a really big issue. I have one of my Wolfpack members that's helping me out with like some pre-ICO stuff, because they do like ICO acceleration stuff, and they're actually from, let me not get too far into it because I don't know if I should be talking about him on here. But anyways, they have a really big ICO accelerator group, and like over 100 employees just for fucking ICOs. That's a fucking ginormous.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's insane.
This business basically, they came out and notified me that, there's a little bit of conflict going on within the crypto space, because, the SEC is now trying to step foot and take over the charge of charging Tezos. Cause Tezos is trying to hide behind, the fact that, we're Swiss and like we're third party and you guys can't do anything about us, but basically America's trying to say fuck you, America, hashtag fuck yeah, and just take the reign as much as they can. So that's a really, really, really bad impact on the crypto community, because that just makes regulations come in a lot quicker.
Yeah, that's certainly not good. I think if Tezos can launch the network, that will go a long way towards minimizing some of these tail risks sort of things. The SEC coming in, big time legislators, big time law firms. I think if they can launch the network and become decentralized, they'll kind of skate past a lot of that, but it's up in the air right now. You're right.
Well, that's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
They got to launch. That's if the longer they take to launch, the more issues
100%.
they're going to see coming up, because people are just impatient. And to me, a lot of times, especially Tezos, it's a unique platform. So, of course, in tech, things get pushed back all the time, right? That's kind of a normal thing. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people in the ICO game who are used to getting their coins instantly, because they're ERC20 tokens. So they can just create them out of a contract pretty much. So that's another issue. I see that some of these, maybe the newer investors in the crypto that got into Tezos because it was getting so hyped, I can see probably a lot of them are choked about that, and I've seen it on Twitter, but I think, people just need to chill out a bit, be patient.
Definitely has to launch, I think, for it to really get off the ground and put some minds to ease here. So, I think that wraps up everything we pretty much have today. Does anyone have anything real quick that's chapping their ass this week? I can tell you one that's mine is these people on Twitter that reported me and I had to spend 12 hours in jail for harassment when, I can post some meatspin.com link, ref link, and
this actually makes me think real quick.
But
like
Randy
pod highlight of the week, I think was, some random guy on Twitter started it, but on Friday, so normally there's a follow Friday where you hashtag FF, you post a bunch of people you like that like you, and you get people to follow them. It's a fun thing. It helps you get more followers. Somebody decided to do basically a hijack Friday where you find somebody else's follow Friday and you post a quick comment like, oh, great, Melissa, that's awesome. I'm happy for your friend's garden. And then go, how about follow these people? Ever heard of Bitcoin? And like, it just lists like 13 people to follow. So we've kind of turned it in the pod to sort of like a hijack Friday. It was fucking hilarious on Friday. We were getting notifications out the ass the entire day. I think all of us. I felt like a fucking Twitter celebrity for a little bit. So, it was a nice little ego boost.
We felt like Wolf for a little bit.
On that Wolf of Poloniex status. So that was fun. Hijack Friday.
Yo, gotta give a shout out to Randy. I definitely think he won the pod.
Oh yeah, Randy was
hijack.
doing it everywhere. We were doing it on like Kim Kardashian's Twitter, Trump, I think Justin Bieber. It was fucking hilarious. Like I posted on Bieber, I was like, hey, Biebs, big fan, thanks for the follow. Just like posting.
Follow these guys. All right, well, Wolf, thank you very much for being on. We appreciate it. I know it was last minute for you, and know you're busier than shit, but we do appreciate you being on here, and thank you. Any parting words, Wolf?
Yeah, no problem. Real quick, when is this podcast going live?
Hopefully by tomorrow.
Soon. Couple days. Hopefully tomorrow, yeah.
Hopefully tomorrow or
Tomorrow, yeah, it'll be together
As
tomorrow.
quick as possible.
Well, I was gonna say, buy Bitcoins, thank me tomorrow, but never mind. It's okay. No, but all right. Well, thanks for having me. It's been fun. I'm over here drinking, so it's all cool.
Yeah, I think we're all having a good time. We certainly appreciate it, Wolf. The insight was super fascinating, I think, for all of us and hopefully for our listeners. I want to give a quick shout out to all of our listeners in California. We got a slightly overcast day today. We have a lot of listeners in California, so I'm here too, representing LA. We love you guys. We love all of our listeners, but special shout out to the Californians.
Iowans, you need to pick your shit up. Let's go.
LA sucks, just saying.
Heyo. All right, later, everybody.
Guys.
All right.
All right.
Thanks. See you
Later.
guys.